We adopted her. She was adopted. Her real mother was a drug addict, and she was in a drug rehab. And the state was going to take her, so they aunt got custody of Lexi and met us in the parking lot of an academy. And like the lawyer said, they don't say 9/10 of the law is possession for nothing. So he said we needed to get possession of her. So to be honest, she probably had she had a little bit of difficult childhood, and both me and her mom are to blame for that. Her mom was always constantly yelling at her, and me and the kids. I also have an adopted son. He's 24 now. And so she would yell at her and everything, and she would get mad at me because I would, when she was 3 or 4, she was scared to go to bed by herself. So every night I would put her to bed and lay with her and scratch her back and sing songs to her and stuff like that, and put her right to sleep. And my ex-wife, she didn't like that too much, but for some reason. But that was mine and her thing, and until she died, she always told me that she remembers that and loved that. So that means and meant a lot to me. But the problem with me and my ex-wife was always yelling at me, so I started drinking alcohol when I was 15 or 16 years old. And my way of coping with that was sitting on the front porch drinking beer or whiskey or what have you most nights. And so I would still lay with her before I went to bed. But things like doing her homework and schoolwork and stuff like that fell to my ex-wife because she was a school teacher. And, of course, my ex-wife would get mad at her because she didn't do this right or that right. And then, so I was on the front porch and I wasn't really there raising her. And me and the ex-wife would fight a lot. So when she was 10, I decided, it's not fair to her. It's not fair to me. It just wasn't fair for her to grow up with an alcoholic dad. And I didn't see any change in her mother, so I decided to get a divorce. Years later, her and my son both told me that they appreciated it, that things settled down after I left. Unfortunately, my ex-wife got custody of my daughter, and then when was it? It was October 7th, 2021. I got a text from my ex-wife, said, "I'm done. All of Lexi's stuff is in your front yard. She can live with you now." And Lexi was 16. And so I went out in the front yard, and there were a bunch of garbage bags full of all of Lexi's stuff. And so Lexi started living with me. And the one thing that always would hurt me, and I don't think she meant it to hurt me, was she would always tell me, "Dad, I just want you to love me. I don't care about material things, about anything. I want love in my life. I haven't really had a lot of it." So I would always, I would talk to her, and we'd sit and watch TV, and I just try to be as present as I could, because when I got a divorce, started going to church, and I got saved and baptized, and I haven't had a drink since, and that's 7 years. And so she really enjoyed living with me. What mattered to me the most was if Lexi got the love and the attention that she deserved, because my son had already moved in with me because my ex-wife had kicked him out a couple years before that, and he had lived with my mother until my mother passed away. He took care of her, and then he moved in with me and my wife. So we we did that, and one of the biggest regrets I ever had it was me and my daughter, we got into an argument, and she says that her mother had changed for the better, and that she wanted to go live back with her. So because we're mad at each other, I made a big mistake and said, okay, if that's what you want. And so she moved back with her mother, and she was gone within a month. When she was 15, her and another girl got caught in the girls' restroom at school vaping on a what they call a blunt, I guess, and has some marijuana or something in it. So she ended up getting suspended and sent to Independent Study Center. A little bit after that, March 21st, 21. I know the date because she has decided she would experiment with her sexuality. So she decided that she was lesbian. So she got a girlfriend, and after she got the girlfriend, not too long afterwards, that's when she started dyeing her beautiful blonde hair and got a nose ring, started looking at, crystals and the spirits and just a lot of the spirit world and a lot of witchcraft and darkness. And I had stopped to the point of not looking into her social media, I guess, about 2 or 3 months before her death. And that was my biggest mistake, because she had started posting on there that she was going without sleep, that she was living on coke and staying awake and making it through school on coke. And if I would have just looked at it and saw that, it would have been stopped. I would have put her in rehab and everything else. But as a father, I have so many regrets, and I have so much blame that I put on myself for not giving her the love that she might have needed, or keeping a tighter rein on her social media and on her phone. I did have an app on her phone, so I knew where the phone was. But and I'd question her about it, and when she wasn't where I thought she was supposed to be, and I was at a friend's dad, I was dropping so and so off, or I was dropping that person off. So as a father, you hope that they don't lie to you, and that they're telling you the truth. Until I caught her doing something or whatever, or saw it, or I would give her the benefit of the doubt. And that I really don't regret, to be honest, giving her the benefit of the doubt, because you have to have some trust. And I didn't want to break her trust in me, or her ability to trust other people, because I couldn't trust her. And normally she was spot on. She was whatever she told me was what she was doing. But I think the last about 2 months of her life, she had gotten to the point where it was just covering up, hiding things. She even started hiding it from her girlfriend, because her and her girlfriend had talked about, we're graduating, we're going to go to college, we're going to get jobs, we're going to be working. We need to quit doing these things. And so she hid the coke usage from her girlfriend. Girlfriend didn't know anything about it. And from what I understand, and I've been addicted to alcohol, but nothing else. But what I understand is cocaine costs so much money that the coke addict will buy it and not share, not say that I have it, and hide it from all of their loved ones and things. So she started doing that. And matter of fact, the night that she died, I have her phone, and I have all the texts from her drug dealer and when he dropped it off and everything. So it's difficult for me to read, but I have screenshots and copies of it on my phone, and just I know who it is. I wish I could do something about it. Police have decided that they have their hands tied. The district attorney doesn't want to prosecute him for any kind of manslaughter or anything like that, because she doesn't think that she could get a conviction. And of course, things like that make you mad. It's like you're more worried about whether or not it's going to be able to say, well, she lost this case, so I'm not going to even take a chance. I'm not even going to attempt it. And that just kills me, because I have text from him when he delivered it, and she was dead an hour and a half later. I got a phone call December 2nd, right around 5 p.m. from my ex-wife's new husband. And in words I'll never forget, he said, Billy, and had a big pause and said, there's no good way to tell you this, but Lexi's dead. I said, what? Lexi's dead. And I just let out this horrible scream. My wife now comes running. What's wrong? What's wrong? I said, Lexi's dead. Lexi's dead. He said, what? I said, she's dead. They said she's dead. So I got myself together and got in the car and drove over there. And there's like 5 police cars there. And then I come to find out what happened was she took the drugs about 1:30 in the morning. And she was on the phone with her girlfriend talking to her until about 3. And her girlfriend said that she let out this sigh, then nothing. And we think that's when the fentanyl took over and just put her to sleep. And girlfriend tried to call her back 6 or 7 times, but she would never answer the phone. And then the next day, she was supposed to pick her girlfriend up to go to school, because she would pick them up and they'd go to school together, and she never showed up. My girlfriend got a ride to school and kept on calling her. and they couldn't get a hold of her. So they called my ex-wife, and she was at work. And apparently, she had died at 3 o'clock in the morning, but they went to school, went to work, her and her new husband. They didn't bother to go and say, "Hey, Lexi, you up? You ready to go to school? What's going on?" They just got ready for work, walked out the door, and left. And so they finally got a hold of her about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and she called the next door neighbor. And the girlfriend had gotten her mother to give her a ride over there, and they went inside. And the neighbor told my ex-wife, she's cold. I don't think she's alive. She's in her bed with her pajamas on, covers on. And they called the police, and then they waited till, a little bit after 5 to call and let me know. Her death certificate reads, I have to read it for the exact words, but and it says it died from a combination of cocaine and fentanyl is their cause of death. They went through her phone. They had her phone and everything, and they told me that they had downloaded everything. They've gone through the phone, and they can't find anything unusual or anything like that. Said, okay, well, you got a copy of the phone. I want to pick up the phone because it belonged to me. I'd given it to her. And so I picked up the phone, and within 5 minutes, I found the text between her and the drug dealer delivering the drugs to her house. And I called him back, and I said, I thought you said you went through the phone. And I said, look, I'm finding these things. I'm finding on her page. I'm finding all the texts from the drug dealer. The drug dealer was trying to get her to start selling drugs. Said he was going to bring her 3 1-ounce bags and split them up in 3 baggies, 1 for her and 2 for her to sell. I'm glad she didn't get a chance to sell it, because there'd be 2 more people dead. And but I found all these things, and her girlfriend started poking around at school, talking to people. Well, we found out the name of the drug dealer, his girlfriend at school, the other people that he runs with, that he gets his drugs from. One of his drug dealing partners told the girlfriend to back off. You better quit or you're going to get hurt. So, I give this all to the police, and the only thing they do is, well, we're closing the case as far as homicide or manslaughter, and we're passing it over to the narcotics division. Talk to the narcotics division, and all they're going to try to do is draw him into a drug buy and get him to get some drugs, and with him being 17, I think he was 18, he's just going to get a slap on the wrist. And, and I find the hardest thing for me to do, I know where he lives. I know his name. Of course, it's been given to the police. I find it hard to keep from me going over there and taking care of it myself. And I know that's not something that she would want, and that's the one thing that keeps me from doing it. And I have a son that I need to keep an eye on and help him in his life. So that keeps me from doing anything about that. So it's difficult. And a big lesson that I learned, You and your ex-wife or husband, y'all can hate each other all you want, but you need to communicate. You need to talk to each other about those kids. You got to know what's going on. And when one says that they're doing something, you need to look into it. You need to check it out. I don't care if you are divorced. You have to communicate between the two spouses. It's all for the best of the children. Hate each other all you want, but communicate about the kids. I think the other lesson that I learned from this is love them. You got to show them love. You got to show your kids that you love them and that they're an important part of your life, and that that they're safe with you, and that you're going to show them love, and it's not going to always be this yelling and griping and all this other stuff all the time, that you truly love them. Even when you discipline them, you need to discipline them, but always know that you're doing it in love and that you love them and you just want the best for them. And be involved in their lives. Know where they're at. Know what they're doing. One thing that my mother didn't have to worry about was social media and cell phones, because I didn't have either one of them when I was a kid. So look at their phones. Know where they're going. Know who they're texting, what they're saying in their text. Know what they're putting on social media. Get into their accounts. Make them tell you what their accounts are. Don't let them hide accounts. Just stay involved. Stay on them and just know what's going on in their lives. Talk to them. Sit down and talk to them. And just know what's going on with social media. Don't let them have free reign on that. If I would have done those three things, she'd still be alive. But, hindsight's 20/20, right? A lot of things, I look back on, and I wish I would have done this, or I wish I would have done that. Don't have any of those. Don't have, I wish I. They'll tear you apart. It's been really hard 3 months for me, because I am always, I wish I would have. Can't do that.